Going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Curious Cat. My apologies for not putting out too many videos this past while, as I've been living off-grid in my freshly renovated RV. So I've been living down here on the lake and just taking some time to myself to really think out my next few moves here. And some of the things I've been watching are the charts and what's going on with these government currencies and all that. So I'll get into that in this video and kind of highlight that. But if you haven't already, please like the video, share it with friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps me get this information out there, and hopefully it wakes up more people to what's going on so that more of us can protect our wealth in these very trying times. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So a few things I want to cover in this video are basically inflation, what's going on with the government currencies. They're printing money at a very alarming rate, record high inflation rate, that they're pumping the economy full of this phony money. And what that's doing is it's inflating asset prices. So that's why you're seeing a rush to hard money such as gold, silver, and Bitcoin at the moment. All three of them have been surging in price. And basically that's everyone getting nervous because they know, people that are in the know, they know what happens when the governments come in and create a whole bunch of currency out of thin air. And what will happen is the currencies essentially start losing their value. So I've talked about this a lot in previous videos, but basically I want to highlight, I think if you don't own Bitcoin, silver, gold, all three of them, one of them, two of them, whatever, if you don't own some of these assets at this point, I don't think you're paying attention. And I don't think you're paying enough attention to what's going on, and I don't think that you're really preparing yourself. Maybe you don't have that much money and you don't feel like investing per se or whatever, but it's less than an investment and more of a hedge, and just basically to protect yourself and your family, where if we enter like a hyperinflationary situation like Zimbabwe, where the currency essentially becomes useless, you have something like silver to come in and still buy food with or whatnot. So another hedge is obviously food production. I've talked about that as well. If you have a farm or means or the capacity to be growing food, that's also a great way that you can prepare yourself for what's coming, because I see a huge surge in food prices and energy prices and all that. So I think that's what we're going to see in the short time ahead of us, major inflation as the governments basically destroy the currencies. It's funny, when I talk to people, I'm down here talking to people that are camping around me and telling them, you know, oh, the dollar's in big trouble. Are you guys paying attention? And people, no one's aware. Everyone I've mentioned it to so far, not a single person is aware of what's going on. They say, oh, I don't pay much attention to that. And I get it. A lot of people, they don't find interest in it. They're basically just working, saving, putting money in the bank, and doing the old-fashioned way of trying to get ahead. So that might have worked traditionally, but we're in a different time now. And those that have heard, they're just saying, oh, the dollar seems like it's doing pretty good. And the reason they think the Canadian dollar is doing all right is because they're comparing it to the US dollar, which is also falling at a record high rate. So we now have all-time highs in the price of gold in the US dollar. That means that basically the US dollar as the world reserve currency is in a very precarious place, where a lot of people are fleeing the dollar and into hard assets like gold and silver and Bitcoin now. So when we look at that, we can see what's going on. The governments are printing these currencies, they're debasing them, they're losing their buying power. And essentially, to create prosperity in your own life and to hedge against this, or to protect yourself against this inflation, it's very important to have some gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And gold has basically been pushed out of reach for most people. A single ounce here in Canada is just under $3,000 at the moment, and not too many people can afford that. The orders, if you go to order it, they want a $10,000 minimum order, so again, pushed out of reach for most. However, silver, you can go in and buy a single coin, which right now is somewhere around $40. So that's very affordable. Spot price is a little over 30, but you pay to have the coin minted. And basically there's big premiums right now because everyone wants physical silver and there's very few people who are willing to sell it. So people are charging a premium. And but that's very accessible to most people. Most people can afford $40, especially here in Canada, where every 1/5 of the country are collecting this Canadian emergency response benefit, which is $2,000 a month. So they're giving you free currency, free fiat, and in my opinion, it's a great idea to take a small portion of that, only what you can afford, but to put it into a hard asset like silver. And another thing you can do is you can buy Bitcoin. You can buy small denominations of Bitcoin. That's a common misunderstanding people have about Bitcoin, is that you have to buy an entire Bitcoin. So they think it's too expensive and they can't afford it. But I just sold my camp neighbor $20 worth of Bitcoin last night, just to show him how it works, show him how easy that is to basically transact with Bitcoin. Basically gifted it to him just to show him how it works. But this just highlights that it is that easy. You can go to a Bitcoin ATM and you could buy $20 worth. So every paycheck you could hedge yourself, or basically diversify and get into some of these alternative currencies that aren't exposed to this extreme inflation, this exponential money printing that's going on by the governments. So it's very important, in my opinion, that every one of us diversify and get some of these other assets. And another thing I wanted to talk about is what's called dollar cost averaging. So I've been trying to, well, I haven't been trying, I have been learning how to read charts and do some technical analysis and just try and find good buy-in points to buy some of these assets. However, it's very tricky. Even if you know what you're doing to some extent, it's still very tricky to make the right call. So there's what's called dollar cost averaging, which I think is a great way to invest or to acquire some of these assets. And that basically means just every paycheck, once a month or once every 2 weeks, just buy a little bit of these assets and just don't worry about the price. Just buy it, tuck it away, and forget about it. And then that way, I feel like there's a lot of people that are invested in this stuff just to make money. And then there's those of us that are invested because we believe in it. We want to hold hard money. We want to hold assets that appreciate in value rather than inflate away and lose their purchasing power. So for me, I haven't been selling any of my silver that I've been acquiring for the last 10 years, nor have I sold any of my gold. And any Bitcoin that I have sold, I've always regretted. So those have been some tough lessons. I think the best way to go is just a dollar cost average, and obviously never spend more than you're able to lose, just in case. I mean, silver's never going to go to zero. Bitcoin could, but I highly doubt it will. And gold, of course, will never go to zero. It never has. It's always maintained its value better than any other currency. So by buying these other assets, you have, it's a savings account and you have something to show for it. You can hold it in your hand. You're not at the mercy of the banks to say whether you can or can't spend your own money. And with this upcoming war on cash that we're seeing, with the governments basically banning cash everywhere, forcing you to use credit cards, monitoring every single one of your transactions, silver becomes a great play to be able to have means to transact outside of the traditional banking system and essentially be able to transact in private. It's really none of their business. I mean, a lot of us, we don't have anything to hide. It's not that we have stuff to hide, but it's just that maybe we don't want them knowing every single one of our transactions. I don't think it's any of their business if what I'm buying for groceries or food and whatnot. So these are some of the reasons I like to buy silver, buy gold, buy Bitcoin, and it's a very important time. All of these assets are getting pushed higher because of the money printing that's going on. And I made the mistake of waiting too long in the past, where all of a sudden I got nervous at the very peak, where I thought the currencies were possibly just going to lose all their value and go into true hyperinflation. So I ended up buying at much higher prices. But if you can start dollar cost averaging in at this point and just tucking it away and basically putting money in that you don't need right away. So you can basically tuck it away and just sit on it as some kind of protection of what's against what's going on with the currencies. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm off grid here, and basically I'm recording in lower quality just because it's eating up a lot of data to upload the videos. So I'm going to try this. Let me know in the comments what you think about this setup, if it's all right for you guys. I felt that it was more important to get the information out there and not worry so much about the quality of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys are doing in the comments below, what you guys feel is going on in the economy, and what kind of action you're taking to hedge and protect you and your family against this massive inflating of our money supply. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate your attention. As always, have a fantastic day wherever you are, and we'll see you in the next video.